loans, but real estate is not going to bubble and boom like it has in the past. So sell real estate you don't really need and love now, especially if you're speculating or renting out or have a vacation home that you only use so many weeks a year. Now, real quick, Australia, 8-city index. Now, this is where I just throw up charts. I've got other means to say, if I looked at this chart and didn't know what it was, here's what I'd say. Best case, 32% down for Australia real estate. Most likely somewhere between 41 and 49%. That's a lot.
What, real estate?
Yeah.
I'm not buying anything right now. I'm selling. I generally don't sell. Yeah. And so it kind of hurts me to sell. Yeah. But I know it's a bubble. And the interviewer, yeah, I had nothing. And now I'm a multi-millionaire flipping real estate. I go, holy moly, and it's the same formula. Everybody wants to get rich quick. And thank God, we've done our best at the Rich Dad Company to avoid that, because there's a difference between flipping and flopping and having some hot chick and some hot young guy up there promising you can get rich quick in real estate. And it does happen, I guess, occasionally, but not for the long term, because eventually your stupidity will catch you, more your vanity.
In this video, I'm going to take you through the bursting of the Australian real estate bubble. Australia didn't experience a recession during the global financial crisis of 2008. Instead, while real estate was crashing in most of the first world, Australia's real estate bubble just took a pause to catch its breath and then kept on running.
The property market is going to get a dose of reality. Now, I've been discussing this in several videos for some time, that I think that is what we need to watch out for when all of these handouts disappear, when the banks, being our friends and nice to us, goes away. House prices in Australia are set to tumble as regulators warn the end of the pandemic mortgage honeymoon is likely to trigger forced sales. Well, we've got rental demand disappearing, decreasing. International students disappearing. We've got Airbnbs flooding the market for long-term rentals. You've got people getting extended interest-only loans. You've got people getting mortgage holidays. How would you get a mortgage holiday on an interest-only loan? Just think about that, guys. How bad would that be?
That's because we had a much bigger bubble pop this time, and we are now, in the early stages of a much greater recession and a much deeper financial crisis than the one that we experienced back in 2008. But a lot of people still haven't come to terms with this. They still think that, we can get back to where we were prior to COVID-19, that we turn the economy off and all we have to do is turn it back on again and everything is going to be great. And if you listen to Donald Trump, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world before COVID, and we can just get right back there. That's impossible.
Property is already falling, and it's going to fall further. Be really cautious, be really careful. Don't believe the media hype. Remember that many of the media companies are directly linked to the real estate companies. There are probably more risks in the property sector than I've ever seen. And it gives me no pleasure. I have no vested interests in property or anything. I simply look at the data, look at my surveys, look at what I'm seeing, and just tell the story, because I want people to be informed. I want people to understand that property is risky. It is as risky as many other classes of investment. Property does not always double every 7 years, despite the fact that half of the people in my survey still believe it. Even with the data I've shown today, people will still say, no, you're wrong. You've cherry-picked the examples. Your surveys are wrong. No, my surveys are dead right. They've been showing this for some time. It's all coming through. And what I'd say is that, keep a track on what's going on, because the fact is that these scenarios will get updated. This is probably the most important message I've ever left with anybody, because I think that the crisis is really coming, and it's coming through.
That is 29 years after the recession we had to have, comes the one we couldn't avoid.
Is Australia in recession today?
The answer to that is yes.
Josh Frydenberg didn't utter the R word, instead painting the grimmest of pictures.
This was the economist's version of Armageddon. Flood, fire, drought, and now the coronavirus pandemic.